Survivor's Journal. Since the last entry, I've been hard at work trying to collect and refine the necessary resources to actually get the production center for my future mothership working. Now, this is requiring a lot of materials, a lot of time refining and mining too, and power demands are really becoming a problem here, so I'm going to need some sort of solar power system really fast, because this uranium is not going to last very long. Now, in order to achieve this, the best method is to capture these random ships that fly around. All of them are either NATO or AmeriCorps, so I have no issues whatsoever taking advantage of that. But this will send out an alarm signal within not a lot of time, so I really have to power through this ASAP. And I've already deconstructed one of the mining carriages and captured another one, but I need some way to quickly and efficiently break them down. So here's my next project. I need to make a grinding pit for these ships, and also connect that pit to the storage system and get the power supply online. So that's what's gonna happen, and hopefully during this entry I'll be able to get a lot of work done. Computer, scan all radio frequencies and compare target ship's radio broadcast with hostile vessels database. Mark ship as hostile if compare is true.
Targeted ship is hostile.
Alright, we're going in hot. Deactivate safeties for rocket launcher number 1. Detach decoy groups 1 and 2.
Warning, incoming fighter.
Taking the shot. Negative impact. And direct hit. Let's bring her home.
Boarding clamps ready.
Okay, let's see what this new puppy has for us. I've just ground down these cargo containers, hacked their systems, and it would appear they have cobalt, okay, although I mined quite a bit of that. Platinum, not a whole lot. Some magnesium, alright, cool, and nickel. Yeah, I have lots of uses for all of that, so this was a pretty fine catch. Now, it is extremely time-consuming and dangerous to be spending that time grinding down these things by hand. So I've set up all of my resources right here. And let's just check them out. We have got everything we need right here to build all of those pistons, and I can't... This is why I need a new welder, one of the reasons. I don't have enough cargo capacity here, but so I'm gonna have to weld all the pistons in place and then go back and refill everything to weld all the tubes, and then go back and weld all the cargo containers, and then go back and weld all of the conveyors. And that will be just about it. Then I'm just going to set up a temporary solution right here. I've been maneuvering these ships around so that I have a small notion of how big these things are, so that I can grind them inside of here. And I've been thinking of a system to actually grind them down. I think I've come up with something, but I'm gonna have to mess around with it. Hopefully it'll all work out, and it'll connect to this conveyor right here. So I'm just gonna have to build up these tubes and that conveyor and then hook it up to the grinder. But for now, it's time to build this thing. seem to have miscalculated something here, because I didn't account for all of these cargo containers. Now, and I thought I was seeing some damage there, but there's not. Okay, I wasn't accounting for all these cargo containers, so no way in hell do I have enough interior plates for all of this. And I also miscounted the tubes, the pipes, the conveyor tubes, because I was only counting 2 between each refinery and related cargo container, but I forgot that the arc furnaces actually have more tubing there, so there's still a lot of material. Well, not a lot, the vast majority of it is more than done, but especially for tubes I need a lot of motors. But like I said, I really do need to start grinding ships down, and the best way to do so is with a grinding pit. But before we get to that, I'll just add later on, because I don't have enough components for all of these. Well, I do, but I haven't planned for it, so I'll add them later on. An extra security feature which will lock these pistons in place and prevent them from jiggling around when we're maneuvering this ship, and that'll help them not break. I'll do those for these and possibly for these pistons as well, since they don't have a very large welding base, so they might snap off. Now, as for the grinding pit itself, I've been thinking a lot, and I believe I'm going with a design which will be comprised of a moving wall, pushing the ships, the grinded ships, into a wall of grinders. Now, I was thinking about moving the grinders themselves, but that would raise issues concerning the materials, the material collection. And the wall wouldn't, well, I either moved the whole wall and I'd have something separate, so a separate set of armor blocks inside this ship to be able to move all the way around with connected containers and whatnot. Or I can do the opposite, move a wall against the grinders, actually have the grinders stationary and hook them up directly to our main storage system. And that's what I want to do, because I don't want to run the risk of actually losing materials for lack of storage space. So, I believe I'm going to set up the wall here, and the way I'm going to make it go all the way up to here will be with... yeah, it's gonna be with a rotor system, not piston activated, because that would imply putting in maybe 2 pistons, and I don't want to do that. So what I want to do is actually have a rotor, say, give me that block. Yeah, let's say a rotor here, then a shaft going all the way across to here, then another rotor here, and another shaft connecting with the wall itself here. Now, this wall might need some guides on the, well, possibly up and down, on the up and down portions. I'm gonna have to see how it behaves, but this is going to be it. So I believe I'm going to set up the basic wall mechanism, and I'm gonna run a couple of tests. Well, that was an ordeal and a half. Wow, it was really hard placing these things, these wheels and this guide shaft, but I eventually got it done. And here is the system that I'm going with. Now, I am gonna have to test this out, but there's still some stuff that I need to figure out. Actually, it's all figured out. There's still some stuff that I actually need to program in order for this to go all the way over there. And of course, I chose to have a guide shaft instead of relying on this rotor alone, rotating to keep this wall straight, so at a 90-degree angle in relation to the hull. I think this system is much more trustworthy, so I am going with it. The problem, its weakness, is that it needs a really as long a guide shaft as the width of the grinding pit. So this is going to occupy some space, but it's not really worrisome. I mean, it's just a shaft in the middle of the hull. It doesn't take up that much space. So I'm going to program these rotors now and try to get them to actually push this all the way across to there, and I'll log back in as soon as I see some results. Well, after roughly 3 hours of attempting to assemble a system, I've come to the conclusion that these makeshift rotors I can fabricate aren't cutting it. They don't respect their bounds. This would be a precision task, and rotors aren't fit for precision tasks. My rotors, at least. So I decided to approach this differently. I'm going to build a gravity trap. So it will still consist of a wall going towards another wall of grinders, but this wall will have, I'll fabricate some sort of a dense block, a dense mass block, and try to make my own gravity generator. And that will hopefully push the wall towards the grinders. I'll put in a safety stop, a couple of guide rails, and I'll use, I believe I'm going to use, I'm going with landing gears. I was trying wheels, and they're good, but I believe I can maybe make a better job out of it with actual landing gears to serve as guides. So I'm going to attempt that and log back in as soon as I see some results. Well then, unfortunately, after that rotor system mishap, I'm not gonna have time right now. I really have to rest. I'm not gonna have time to complete this project, and this in itself took quite a bit of time. Now, I am looking at some warping here, but there's no structural damage. So these pieces of armor right here tend to get a little warped. But that's just how it goes. There's really nothing we can do. They have to fit through there. They get a little squeezed, but structurally they're sound. They're gonna look a bit ugly. Now I had to use three separate systems to guarantee the stability of this thing. These landing gears here will be fixed and will remain here, attached to the main ship. And the wall and this central guide shaft right here are separate from our main ship, are the mobile part. So there's another set of landing gears attached to the wall's guide shaft right here, and these ones travel against these guide rails right here, which again the guide rails are attached to the main ship. Same on either side. Plus a set of four landing gears right here, and these are going, the system will be there will be a little gap here where this will be the grinding space. This little gap will we might actually even use this to pick up fallen objects from the ship. The grinded ship will have to play around with gravity. But look at me saying we. I'm so glad I started this journal. I'd be going insane right now. Give me that. but we might be able to play around, and this is a blast door. The landing gear here and this will be repeated for all 4 corners. This landing gear will be able to go all the way down there to the grinders. Now I'll have to play around with the settings or actually with the stoppers, where to actually stop this thing. But for now, I'd like to record this in action. So let's actually give this thing a positive gravity, and I am going to reboot it because the gravity generators apparently don't like to have their gravities turned from positive to negative or vice versa without being rebooted. That's just, well, there you go. I am building these very ghetto-y, so these aren't exactly top of the line. I managed to get some blueprints for the dense mass block, so that really helps. And to be on record, this seems to remain pretty stable. So those double stabilizers there are really doing their job. Yeah, now I have to see how this behaves when there's an actually ship being ground down here, but everything seems to be in order. So that is going to be it for this journal log. Hey everybody, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for watching, for subscribing, for leaving your likes or dislikes. I haven't had a dislike yet, but I'm sure I will. Please don't forget to rate these videos, it's really important. Subscribe if you like the content. Follow me on Twitter, and if you like the channel, please don't forget to tell all your friends. Thank you very much.